Hi guys, welcome to Bridge Course Chemistry from Concept Relearning. So in the last session, what did we read? We read about how to find molecular formula or empirical formula of the substance. So how did we do it? We know the percentage weight, and from that what we do is we calculate the mole ratio, and from the mole ratio we find the simplest ratio, and from the simplest ratio we find out the empirical formula. And empirical to molecular, how do I find it out? For empirical to molecular, I find it out by using a common factor. So for the common factor, we need both empirical mass and molecular mass. When we know this and we divide this, we will be able to find out the molecular mass. Other than this, we also found how to find out moles, what is molar mass, and what is Avogadro number. Avogadro number is 6.022 times 10 to the power of 23 number of molecules. So we found about all these things. Next, in this session, we are going to read about the stoichiometry. Stoichiometry is the study or analysis of a balanced chemical equation. It is the study or analysis of a balanced chemical equation. So, suppose I have an equation here which is written here. So, this equation is propane is reacting with oxygen to give carbon dioxide and water. So you would have read in your 10th standard that these kind of reactions are called as combustion kind of reaction. What are they called as? Combustion. Am I right? So in this reaction, what is happening? Propane is reacting with 5O2 to give 3CO2 and 4H2. We have balanced using, how do we balance? We write the number of atoms on the left and number of atoms on the right, that is number of atoms in the reactant side and number of atoms in the product side, and balance the chemical equation. We saw about this in the Bridge 1 session also. In this, so what do we call a balanced chemical equation? What exactly is happening in a balanced chemical equation? If I have to represent C3H8, I can represent it like this. The dark blue molecules is carbon and the light blue ones is hydrogen. And in the same way, for oxygen, the red colored molecules are oxygen. As we know, for oxygen gas, oxygen and oxygen, the molecules exist together and form a bond, isn't it? And CO2, the oxygen is represented in red color and the blue one is carbon, similar to whatever is present in propane. And for water, the hydrogen is represented in the light blue color and oxygen is represented in the red color. So looking at this reaction, alright, from stoichiometry or from a balanced chemical equation, I can know that one propane molecule which has 3 carbons and 8 hydrogens reacts with 5 oxygen molecules to give 3 carbon dioxide molecules and 4 water molecules. From this, we will be able to find out that one propane reacts with 5 oxygen to give off 3 carbon dioxide and 4 water molecules. So this is what we find out from a stoichiometry. So not at all just molecules. We found about moles, isn't it? Moles can be related to Avogadro number. What does Avogadro number represent? Avogadro number represents again the number of molecules. Avogadro number represents again the number of molecules. So when I have a coefficient like this, they do not just represent the number of molecules. They can also be used to represent moles. So using this balanced chemical equation, I can also write it as 1 mole of propane is reacting with 5 mole of oxygen to give 3 moles of carbon dioxide and 4 moles of water. Clear? We identified molecules earlier. Now we are identifying the moles. 1 mole of propane reacts with 5 moles of oxygen gas, giving rise to 3 moles of carbon dioxide gas and 4 moles of water. So this moles can also be converted into grams. Am I right? So if I have to write this, I can write it like this. Now, if I have to convert it into grams, I know that 1 mole of oxygen is 32. Am I right? So, for each of this balanced chemical reaction, using this moles, I'll be able to find out the grams of the reactant or product which is there in this reaction. So if I give you, I need 1 mole of propane gas to be burnt completely, how much oxygen do I use? I will use this molar ratio and find out how to calculate the grams. So that is what we do using a balanced chemical reaction. So our objectives when we are dealing with stoichiometry is to estimate the amount of reactants required to react, to estimate the product form and to identify the limiting reagent. So these are the three things. How do we find out the amount of reactant? How do we estimate the product form? And how do we identify the limiting reagent? So these are the three kind of things what we are going to look at in today's session. So stoichiometry. Let's look at an example and see how we calculate the reactants. So the question here says that what is the mass of oxygen which will react with 96.1 grams of propane. So there is a reaction given here. This is propane and the other things I guess you will be able to identify. They have given 96.1 grams of propane. First thing when a reaction is given, we have to check whether it is balanced. It is balanced, isn't it? The number of carbons are matching the number of carbons on the right and left. Oxygen are matching and even hydrogens are matching. So that is the first thing you have to check. And if you are writing a reaction, you have to write it out and balance. After balancing it, we will look at the given. Given is 96.1 grams of propane. This is what is given. According to balanced equation, what can I write about the molar ratio? I can write that 1 mole of this is reacting with 5 mole of oxygen to give 3 mole of carbon dioxide and 4 mole of water. Right? So, and what is given? Given is mass of propane. So first thing which we have to find out is how many moles is present in whatever is given. How many moles is present in whatever is given. First, so for that we have to find out the molar mass of propane. So we have C3H8. What is the molar mass? 12 times 3 plus 8. So the molar mass is 44 gram per mole. The molar mass is 44 gram per mole. So how much propane will be present in 96.1 gram? So 96.1 gram divided by 44 gram will give you the molar ratio. You will get 2.18 mole. So 96.1 gram has 2.18 mole of propane. Using the equation moles equals mass over molar mass. Now according to the balanced equation, we do have that 1 mole of propane is reacting with 5 moles of oxygen and 3 moles of carbon dioxide and 4 moles and gives a 4 moles of water. But the question is asking how many mass, what is the mass of oxygen which will react, isn't it? So how do I find out the mass now? 1 mole of propane always requires 5 moles of oxygen. So what is given? 2.18 mole of propane. So how much oxygen will require? Let's write it here. So given as 1 mole propane requires 5 moles of oxygen according to the standard. So 2.18 mole of propane will require how much? So it is a simple cross multiplication. So it is 5 times 2.18. So how much will be the answer? 10.92 mole. Am I right? So using a simple cross multiplication, this is what I'll get. 10.92 mole. So the given was 96.1 gram. I converted it into moles using molar mass, and according to the standard the ratio is 1:5. That is 1 mole of propane will react with 5 moles of oxygen. So 2.18 will react with how much? It will react with 10.9 mole. So this is what is required. So if I have to convert it into mass, I just have to multiply by the molar mass. So 10.9 times 32. It is not 16, it is 32. So what will you get? Approximately 348.8 grams of oxygen is what is required. We need 348.8 grams of oxygen if 96.1 gram of propane is used. So this is what we use when we use a balanced chemical equation. So if we have to represent it in a tabular form, whenever a mass of known substance is given, I convert it into moles by using the formula N equals to mass over molar mass. Am I right? Next, what do I do? Mass of known substance is converted into moles of the desired using a simple cross multiplication using the standard ratio. The standard ratio is obtained from balanced chemical equation. So moles of desired substance over moles of known substance using a standard mole ratio from the balanced chemical equation. So after I get moles of desired substance, I will convert it into the mass of desired substance. So this is what we do when we have to calculate the mass of reactants or products. So the mass of known substance is a reactant. I'll be able to find out the mass of product which will form also, because based on the previous equation, 1 mole of propane gave out 4 water molecules. So, or 1 mole of propane gave out 4 moles of water. So that is always constant. If I take 1 mole, it will give 4 moles of water only. So using the same theory, using the standard ratio, I'll be also able to find out the mass of products. So we'll look at an example. What is the mass of carbon dioxide? So last time we found what is oxygen required. Now we are going to find out what is the mass of carbon dioxide produced when 96.1 gram of propane is combusted. Again, what is the ratio? 1 mole. This is 5 mole. So we are talking only about carbon dioxide. So let's just write carbon. So 1 mole of propane will give 3 moles of carbon dioxide. And what is given? I have 96.1 gram. We already used N equal to mass over molar mass to find out that in 96.1 grams, the molar mass is 44. So I'll get 2.18 moles of propane is present. So that means in 2.18 mole of propane, how much carbon dioxide is present is the question. How do I do? Using the standard ratio, right? So 1 requires 3 moles, 2.18 will require how much? Cross multiplication. So 2.18 times 3 divided by 1. So what will you get? 6.54 moles of carbon dioxide. Am I right? 6.54 moles of carbon dioxide. So I know now that 6.48 moles of carbon dioxide is required. Moles. Now, but mass is asked, isn't it? So how do I convert this into mass? 1 mole has 44 grams. So using N equal to mass over molar mass, I'll be able to find out the mass. So mass will be equal to 6.48 times 44. I'll get 287.7 grams of carbon dioxide gas is what will be released when 96.1 gram of propane is used. 96.1 gram of propane will be given when will be taken, then it will release 287.7 grams of carbon dioxide. So this is how we find out how to find out. So what did we do? Same thing, moles to moles ratio. I converted the mass into moles and then used the standard to find out the moles of carbon dioxide, and then I converted it into mass of carbon dioxide. So this is what we have done here. Next equation. What is the mass of calcium oxide produced when 20 grams of calcium carbonate is decomposed? So in this question, we have to first check whether this is balanced. Is this balanced? Yes, the numbers are matching, isn't it? The number of atoms. So they have asked what is the mass of calcium carbonate. According to this, 1 mole of calcium carbonate will give 1 mole of calcium oxide. Am I right? So based on that, 20 grams of this will give how many grams of calcium oxide is the question. So in 20 grams, what is the mole? I have to convert it, right? So 1 mole, that is molar mass of calcium carbonate is equal to 100 gram per mole, right? So based on that, we'll find out in 20 grams how much. So 20 divided by 100 will give you 1 over 5, right? So that is 0.2 mole of calcium carbonate is present in 20 grams of whatever substance is given. So using that, so that means 0.2 mole of calcium carbonate will give how much calcium oxide is the question. So how do we find out? We find out again by using the standard mole ratio. 1 mole gives 1 mole. So 0.2 mole obviously will give rise to 0.2 mole of calcium oxide. Am I right? So 0.2 mole of calcium oxide, if I have to convert into mass, I have to use the molar mass. Molar mass of calcium oxide is 40 plus 16, which will give rise to 56. So what will be the mass of calcium oxide? 0.2 times 56. So I will get 111.2 grams. So if 20 grams of calcium carbonate is used, 11.2 grams of calcium oxide will be released. So if they had asked what is the mass of carbon dioxide is also released. So 20 grams of this will give rise to 11.2 grams of this. So what is the remaining weight according to law of conservation of mass? According to law of conservation of mass, left hand side mass should be equal to the right hand side mass. So using that, 20 minus 11.2, whatever is the value you have to get. So 7.8 grams should be giving you exactly carbon dioxide. So you don't have to again do all this mole ratio in order to find out what is the mass of carbon dioxide given. If you have found out already what is the mass of calcium oxide released. So this is an example of decomposition reaction. So next question, what is the mass of hydrogen? So what is the mass of hydrogen and nitrogen that is required when 70 grams of, what is the equation regarding it? Hydrogen and nitrogen, they are giving rise to ammonia. Ammonia's formula is NH3. Using that, is this reaction balanced? The nitrogen and hydrogen giving rise to ammonia. So we have, how do we do it? The number of atoms on the left hand side and number of atoms on the right hand side. So we have 3 here, we have 1 here, and we have 2 and 2 here. So that means if I multiply it by 2 here, I'll get 6 hydrogens. Am I right? So in order to balance that, I would have to multiply by 3, that is add a coefficient 3 here. So the final equation which I'll get is nitrogen reacting with 3 hydrogen molecules gives rise to 2 ammonia, or I can also write it as 1 mole of nitrogen will react with 1 mole of hydrogen to give 3 moles of hydrogen to give 2 moles of ammonia. So this is what is obtained. So what is the mass given? Mass of ammonia which is being produced is 70 grams. So using the formula moles equal to mass over molar mass, we can calculate the number of moles. So what is the molar mass of ammonia? It is 17, 14 plus 3. So the number of moles will be equal to 70 over 17. So if we divide that, 4.1 mole is what you will get. So number of moles will be equal to 4.1 mole in the ammonia. 14 plus 3, the mass is 70. So the number of moles is 4.1. Now the question asks, what is the mass of hydrogen and nitrogen which is used? So let's find out first one reactant. We'll find out hydrogen or nitrogen. So 1 mole of nitrogen. 1 mole nitrogen will give us 2 mole ammonia. That is the standard. So based on that, 4.1 mole of ammonia will be released by how many moles? So using cross multiplication, 4.1 times 1 divided by 2. So you will get approximately 2.05 mole. If ammonia is taken, then I will get 4.1 mole of hydrogen. So this is what is obtained. So if I have to convert this into mass, so I have to convert what is the mass of hydrogen and nitrogen is what is asked, isn't it? So if I have to convert this into mass, what would I do? I will use molar mass. So 2.05 mole of ammonia times nitrogen's molar mass is 14 plus 14, 28. So 2.05 times 28, which will give me 57.6 grams of nitrogen. Is this clear? What we did was, there is the standard, that is 1 mole of this, 3 and 2. After we balanced, so 3 mole hydrogen, 1 mole nitrogen and 2 mole ammonia is the standard. So when these two react, they will give 2 mole ammonia. So given is 70 grams. So 70 grams, when I converted into moles, I got 4.1 mole. So 1 mole of ammonia will give 4.1 will be given by how many moles of nitrogen. So we found out it is 2.05. This 0.25 moles was converted into mass by using the conversion. So how much mass was it? 57.6 grams. So 57.6 grams of nitrogen, if when reacting with hydrogen, will give you 70 grams of ammonia. Now, the question also asks what is the mass of hydrogen required. So, do you have to go all through the mole ratio? No. According to law of conservation of mass, reactants mass should be equal to mass of products, right? So, that means we can consider this as X. So, 57.6 gram of nitrogen plus X, whatever is the mass of hydrogen, should give you 70. So, mass of hydrogen which is required will be equal to 70 minus 57.6. It will give 12.3 grams. So that means I need 12.3 grams, 5 grams, right? Approximately 12.4 grams I'll get. Okay, 12.4 grams of hydrogen and 57.6 grams of nitrogen. Together when they react, they will give exactly 70 grams of ammonia. So this is what we find out when we are doing this stoichiometric analysis. So we convert whatever is the mass into moles and then use the molar ratio to find out moles of desired substance and then convert it into mass. So if you have to convert more than one mass, you can use law of conservation of mass in order to do it. Now, the next topic what we are going to look at is limiting reactant. Limiting reactant is something where the reactant is totally consumed during the course of reaction and the reaction will stop after the consumption. So this is what happens. First, the reactant is totally consumed, it is used up, and then the reaction will stop once the reactant is used up. So how is it different from the stoichiometry, whatever we see? So let's look at an example. The example I have taken here is reaction of methane with water will give hydrogen gas and carbon monoxide. Okay, if I balance it, this is the equation I will get. Methane, one methane with one water will give rise to 3 hydrogen gas and 1 carbon monoxide. So if I have to represent it in the molecular form, as I said, carbon is this light blue color with 4 hydrogens attached, which is reacting with water molecule, which will always give you 3 hydrogen gas molecules and 1 carbon monoxide molecule. So 1 methane and 1 water together will give 3 hydrogen gas and 1 carbon monoxide. Or stoichiometrically, 1 mole of this will react with 1 mole of this to give 3 moles of this and 1 mole of the carbon monoxide. So this is what the stoichiometric analysis represents, isn't it? So now let's see what is a limiting reactant. So every time I'm not going to use exactly 1 mole. I'll be using a bit more or less, right? So let's see. They have taken some amount of molecules here. Let's see how many molecules are taken. Okay. How many methane are taken? How many water molecules are taken? Methane will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are the methane molecule. So 6 methane molecules are there. What about water? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So I have 9 water molecules. Now according to the standard, the ratio of reaction is 1:1. One methane molecule will react with only one water molecule. So there are 6 methane molecules, right? One methane with one water will give rise to 3 hydrogen gases and 1 carbon monoxide. So there are 6 methane molecules which I am taking and 9 water molecules which I am taking. So what reaction will happen? So whatever is the methane, whichever is the closest water, it will react and will give 3 hydrogen gas and 1 carbon monoxide. So this will give this. So this methane and water will react and will give me this This is closer, so it will give and react 3 hydrogen gas and 1 carbon monoxide. This will give again 3 hydrogen gas and 1 carbon monoxide. Again this will give here, this will again give, and this will again give. So totally when I have, how much did I count? I counted 6 methane and I counted 9 water molecules. So how many are they giving? They are giving 6 methane. Each methane molecule will be reacting with 1 molecule of water and giving me 3 hydrogen gas, right? So that means 3 times 6. I will get 18 hydrogen gas molecules and 6 carbon monoxide molecules. See, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So overall I got 18, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 times 3. 18 hydrogen molecules, that is hydrogen gas molecules, and 6 carbon monoxide. And whatever water was present in excess will be left out. 6 reacted with 6 water molecules. How many water molecules are remaining? 3. So those water molecules will be left out. So, but I will not be representing them in the reaction. The excess whatever is present, that is whatever is left out, I will not be representing them in a reaction. Always in a reaction, reactant is written on the left hand side and the product is written on the right hand side. Whatever is present in the excess will not be represented in the right hand side. So, although there is an excess reagent present, we will not represent. So, if I take 6 methane and 9 water, if I take 6 methane and 9 water, because the ratio is 1:1, right? Even though there are water molecules which are remaining, there is no methane to react with these water molecules. So if I had added in more methane, if I had added in 3 more methane molecules, the reaction would have performed and they would have given 3 hydrogen and 1 carbon monoxide. But that did not happen here. So because of that, the 6 methane whatever is present will react with the water and give off the products, hydrogen and carbon monoxide. Whatever is the water which is present, it will be left out and it will be just staying. It is an excess. So whenever I'm extracting the product, finally actually I'll have hydrogen, I'll have carbon monoxide and some amount of water left. But that is not represented in the reaction. Is this clear? This is limiting reagent. Here methane is acting as limiting reagent because it is getting used up completely and the reaction is stopping once the methane is being used. Water molecule is the excess reagent which is present because it is being left out. So the total consumption of methane is happening but total consumption of water is not happening. So now we are going to look at an example on how do we find out which is excess and which is limiting in a reaction. Now let's look at an example. We'll use the same reaction, methane reacting with water to give hydrogen gas and carbon monoxide, right? So how do we do this? What do we do here? We have to find out, okay, if the water was not given. Alright, there are 2 reactants given here. That means if 2 reactants is given, one should function as limiting reagent, the other one function as excess reagent. So if I had not given you water, if I had given you just 16 grams of methane, you could just take that, okay, and find out what is the hydrogen gas using mole ratio, convert into moles of known substance, molar ratio, and then convert it into moles of desired substance. We can do that. Similarly, if water was only given, the methane was not given, you can use the same method and find out what is the amount of carbon monoxide. But here 2 of the reagents are given. So that means one is functioning as limiting reagent, the other one is functioning as excess reagent. So what we are going to do is we are going to find out how to calculate it. So we have to see if the reaction is balanced. The reaction is balanced, isn't it? 1 mole of this will react with 1 mole of water to give 1 mole of 3 moles of hydrogen and 1 mole of carbon monoxide. But here we are concerned only about carbon monoxide because that is what is asked. Now what is given? 16 grams of methane and 27 grams of water. Water is H2. Now what do? I have to convert this into moles. So for methane, the molar mass is 16. For water it is 80. Using that 16 over 16, you will get 1 mole of methane in 16 grams, right? And for water you will get 27 divided by 80, you will get 2 moles of water. So in this, 1 mole of methane is reacting with 1 mole of water to give carbon monoxide according to the standard. 1 mole of methane is reacting with 1 mole of water to give the 1 mole of carbon monoxide. But if you see the reactants here, I am taking 1 mole of methane, 2 moles of water. So that means which is present in excess here? Which will be present, which will be used up first? The ratio is 1:1. The ratio is 1:1. But here the ratio which is present is 1:2. So that means water is present in excess. Water is present in excess. So that is why the water will function here as excess reagent and methane is the limiting reagent. If the ratio, we have to look at the ratio given. The ratio which is taken is 1:1 only. So if 1 mole of methane, I need only 1 mole of water. I don't need 2 moles. That means whatever is the remaining mole, it will be left out. So in this equation, 1 mole of methane will use up the 1 mole of water to give 1 mole of carbon monoxide, and the remaining 1 mole of water will be left out. So when 16 grams of methane is containing 1 mole, 27 grams of water is containing 2 moles, I will get only 1 mole of carbon monoxide because methane functions as the limiting reagent, whereas water is excess. Water is in excess. So this is how we find out the limiting reagent and we find out how to determine the product. Let's look at the other example. So in Haber's process is very important. You'll be looking at it here and there, okay, where nitrogen reacts with hydrogen to give ammonia. All right. So this is a very important process which you'll be looking at quite often. Let's look at this reaction. They have given 42 grams of nitrogen, 12 grams of hydrogen, and they are asking which is the limiting reagent, what is the amount of excess reagent, and what is the amount of ammonia. Complete package, isn't it? We need what is the product, what is the limiting reagent, and what is the excess reagent and how much. We are going to find out everything here. So if we look at Haber's process, we have to see first whether it is balanced. Is it balanced? Yes. So it means that 1 mole of nitrogen will react with 3 mole of hydrogen to give 2 mole of ammonia. So this is what is given here. So first we have to write out what is given. 42 gram of nitrogen is given, 12 gram of hydrogen is given. Am I right? 42 grams of nitrogen and 12 grams of nitrogen is given in this reaction, and we have to find out what is the remaining. So if I have to convert these, nitrogen is 28 is the molar mass for nitrogen. For hydrogen it is 2. So using that, if I have to convert into moles, I will do 42 over 28. For this I will do 12 over 2. So for this I will get 1.5 mole of nitrogen is present, 6 moles of hydrogen gas is present. So that means in the given mass, this is what is present. So now let's write here, if the standard ratio is 1:3. Am I right? The standard ratio is 1:3 according to the balance reaction. So whenever this two reagents are given, we have to find out first what is present in excess. So now how do I compare 1.5:6? How do I do that? What I do is, I'll just take one value and see how much hydrogen is needed. I will take one reactant and see how much amount of reagent other reagent is needed. If the other reagent is more than the given value, that means it is present in excess. So using this ratio, if I have 1.5 mole of nitrogen, what is present? How much hydrogen will be required? I will require 1.5 times 3 of hydrogen, because 1 nitrogen requires 3 hydrogen moles. 1.5 will require 1.5 times 3, which is 4.5 moles of hydrogen. But what is actually present here? 6 moles of hydrogen is present. 4.5 mole is greater or 6 mole? 6 mole is greater. That means when I am taking 1.5 moles of nitrogen, 4.5 moles will be used up and the remaining 1.5 moles of hydrogen will be left out. It will not react. So which is the excess here? Hydrogen is excess and nitrogen is the limiting. So if we have to write it down in the given value, so what did I do till now? They have given 42 grams of nitrogen and they gave 12 grams of hydrogen gas. I converted it. I got 1.5 mole is present here and 6 moles is present here. So 1.5 mole of nitrogen requires only how many moles? 4.5 moles of hydrogen. So 6 moles is present. So that means minus 4.5. 1.5 mole is present. 1.5 mole of water is present in excess. This is what we have found out here. The others 1.5 mole is present in excess. So one thing is done. What is the limiting reagent? Nitrogen will function as the limiting reagent. So the next question was how much ammonia will form. So using limiting reagent as our standard, we will see ammonia. So if I have to do that, so 1 mole of nitrogen gives 2 mole ammonia. So 1.5 mole will give how much? 1.5 times 2. So I get 3 mole of ammonia. So based on molar mass, I am pretty sure you will be able to convert it into mass. 3 times 17, whatever is the value, you will be able to convert it into the mass of ammonia. So is this clear? So for limiting reagents, what we do? We first, whatever is the given masses, the mass is converted into moles and then the moles are compared. Each mole we'll see how much of the other reagent is required based on stoichiometric analysis, and then we find out what is present in excess and then it will be left out, we will find out, and then we use the limiting reagent to find out the product, just like we did for ammonia. I used 1.5 mole of nitrogen in order to find out how much ammonia is produced, because that will be consumed and the reaction will stop. So this is limiting reagent. Let's look at another example. Here the equation is not mentioned, we have to write the equation. Alright, so during the formation of SO3 from SO2 and O2, 1 mole of oxygen gas and 40 grams of SO2 gas are taken. So one unit is given in mole, the other one is taken in gram. So that is the deviation, which is the limiting reagent. Simple question. First we have to write a equation. So SO2 plus O2 is giving rise to SO3. So if this is the equation, whether it is balanced. How do we balance it? SO, SO. S is 1, S is 1. Oxygen is 4 here, whereas oxygen is 2 here. So what do I do to balance? I have to take a common factor, isn't it? So if I have to take a common factor, I can do times 4 here, I have to do times 3 here. That means first I write it here, right? So 3 means I write 4SO3. So that means 4 sulfur is present. So that means I have to change the 4 sulfur. So here 4 sulfur, now I have 8 plus 2. So that means I need 2 more. So I will write 4. So now if you see, it is balanced. So 4 sulfur, 8 oxygens plus 4, 12 plus 12. So the equation here is 4SO2 plus 2O2 is giving rise to 4SO3. right? Or I can write it also as plus O2 will give rise to, it will still be balanced. See, 6 oxygens, 2 sulfurs and 6 oxygens. It is still balanced. So whenever there is a common coefficient, we can just divide and bring it down to the simpler one. So what is the final equation? It will be 2SO2 will react with water to give 2SO3. This is the reaction. So that means 2 moles of sulfur dioxide reacting with 1 mole of oxygen to give rise to 2 moles of sulfur trioxide. So what is given here? We have 1 mole of oxygen gas, that is already it is converted into moles. We don't have to worry about it. And we have 40 grams of sulfur dioxide. So 1 sulfur 32 plus 32. So the molar mass is 64 for sulfur dioxide. So if I have to convert this into moles, moles of SO2 will be 40 over 64. You will get 0.62 moles. Okay, this is what you get. So that means I have 1 mole of this, 0.62 moles of this. Technically in the reaction, I need 2 moles of SO2 and 1 mole of O2. That is 2:1 ratio. So using this, let's find out, right? So we have 2SO2 plus O2 giving rise to 2SO3, and 1 mole of this is present, 0.62 mole is present. So how do I find out? Right. Now 0.62 mole according to the standard, 2 moles will give 1, will react with 1 mole of oxygen. So 0.6 mole will react with 2 mole of sulfur dioxide, will react with 1 mole oxygen. So 0.62 mole will react with how much? 0.6 over 2. So it will need only 0.3 mole of oxygen. Am I right? Using this, I can find out that it needs only 0.3 moles of oxygen. So that means, but 1 mole of oxygen is present. So what is the limiting reagent? Obviously the sulfur dioxide, because it needs only 0.3 moles of oxygen but 1 mole is present. That means if sulfur dioxide is used up, the reaction will complete and whatever is oxygen present, it will be left out. So the limiting reagent present here is sulfur dioxide because it is present less. So always what we do, we take the moles and compare them. We have to see how many moles of the other reactant is needed. We have to see how many moles of the other reactant is needed, and then if we feel that the other reactant is present in excess, we do, or if it is less in value than what is required, the other one will be the limiting reagent. So let's look at another example. 20 grams of CaCO3 is reacted with 20 grams of hydrochloric acid. How many grams of carbon dioxide can be generated? So the reaction, how many of you guys remember how to write the reaction? It is carbonate, metal carbonate reacting with acid. You read this in acids and bases in your 8th standard, was it? 8th or 9th standard, isn't it? So you have read it way back. So that is the reaction given here. Reaction of metal carbonate with acid will give rise to carbon dioxide, and what else? It will give rise to a salt and it will give rise to water. This is the complete reaction. Alright, the metal carbonate will react with acid to give carbon dioxide, this and this. So now we have to check if it is balanced. So one carbon, one calcium, one calcium. Chloride is not balanced, so I will add 2. Now chloride is balanced, hydrogen is balanced now, and oxygen is also balanced now. So the final reaction is CaCO3 reacts with 2HCl to give rise to CO2 plus CaCl2 plus water. Now in this, what do? We have balanced it. So now what we do is we have to find out the given, right? So 20 grams of CaCO3 is given and 20 grams of HCl is given. CaCO3 moles is 100 grams, HCl is 35.5, 36.5 the molar mass. So if I have to find out the number of moles, 20 over 100, I will get 0.2 moles CaCO3, and for this what will I get? 20 over 36.5, I'll get 0.54 mole of HCl. So that means this is what is present in the given value. 20 grams of carbonate contains 0.2 moles and HCl will contain 0.54 moles. Now what is the next step what we will do? Next step is we have 0.2 mole, 0.54 mole. Next step is I will find out 0.2 moles of calcium carbonate will actually require how much HCl, not what is present, how much is actually required. So 1 mole of calcium carbonate according to standard requires 2 moles of HCl. So 0.2 mole of calcium carbonate will require how much? 0.2 times 2. I will need only 0.4 moles of HCl. According to cross multiplication, I will need only 0.4 moles of HCl. But what is present? 0.54. So which is present in excess? HCl. What is the limiting reagent? Calcium carbonate. So using that, the reaction is calcium carbonate reacting with 2 HCl to give rise to 1 carbon dioxide, calcium chloride and water. So we found that it is 0.2 mole and here 0.54 mole is present, but this functions as excess reagent and this functions as limiting. So because this is limiting, I will use this to form the product. Am I right? So I have to forget about the excess reagent when I am calculating the mass. Now what do? 1 mole of calcium carbonate is giving 1 mole carbon dioxide according to the reaction. So 0.2 mole will give automatically 0.2 mole of calcium carbon dioxide. So 0.2 mole, if I have to convert into mass, it is 0.2 times 44, which is the mass. So you will get 0.88 grams. So 20 grams of calcium carbonate when it is taken, it will give 8.8 grams, not 0.8. 44. So 8.8 gram of carbon dioxide is liberated, which we found out based on the limiting reagent. So first we find out the mole ratio is compared and then we use limiting reagent to find out how much product is produced. Is it clear? So there is the next reaction. So this is one final thing which I'll do and I'll give you one example for you guys to do. Alright, so this is a complicated reaction which we have to balance. We have a multiple choice here. So the reaction is here, BaCl2 is reacting with sodium phosphate to give barium phosphate. Okay, so if I have to write the reaction, barium chloride is reacting with sodium phosphate to give barium phosphate, and the other one would be NaCl. So how do I balance this? I will write BaCl, sodium and phosphate is written together. Similarly, phosphate is written. So now barium is, this is 3 and this is 1 here. So I would have to multiply. It is 1, chloride is 2, sodium is 3 and phosphate is 1. Whereas here the barium is 3, chloride is 1, this is 1 and this is 2. So now if I have to balance it, I will do times 3. So if I do times 3, there are 6 chlorides. So I have to do times 3. So there are 6 chlorides. So that means if I multiply, I get 6 NaCl. how many chlorides is present? There are 3, whereas phosphate is 2. So if I have 2 times 2, so this also will be 6, and already there are 6 here and there are 2 here. Now it is balanced. So 3 barium chloride will react with 2 sodium phosphate to give 1 barium phosphate and 6 sodium chloride. So let's write that equation again. So barium chloride will react with sodium phosphate to give barium phosphate and 6Na chloride. So I have 3 here and I have 2 here. So this is the equation what is present. So the question here is that 0 point. So we know the standard here already, it is represented in the reaction. And the question here is 0.5 moles of barium chloride is taken and 0.2 moles is taken. We have to find out what is the limiting reagent here first, right? So 0.5 mole of barium chloride will require how much sodium phosphate? How do I find out? 3 moles. 3 moles requires 2 moles of sodium phosphate, right? So 0.5 mole will require how much? 0.5 times 2, 0.5 times 2 divided by 3. So I will need only 0.33 mole of sodium phosphate. But how much is present? 0.2 mole is only present. Please understand here. 0.5 mole is what is present for barium chloride, 0.2 mole for sodium phosphate. So, but in actual, if I have to take 0.5 moles of barium chloride, it has to use up, I need 0.33 mole of sodium phosphate. So that means, but actually only 0.2 is present. So which is limiting here? The limiting is sodium phosphate, because I need 0.33 for consumption of 0.5 moles of barium phosphate completely, but only 0.2 is present. So that means the sodium phosphate is what is the limiting reagent. So in the standard reaction, we wrote that 3 moles of barium chloride with 2 sodium phosphate will give 1 barium phosphate and 6 Na chloride. Am I right? So that means 2 sodium phosphate will give 1 barium phosphate. So 0.2 mole will give how much? Obviously 0.1. So C is the answer. Okay. So we have to write a reaction. We have to balance it out. So these are the kind of reactions what you will expect in your 11th and 12th also in the entrance exams. So we find out what is the limiting reagent and then find out what is the moles of product. So this other example is for your benefit. You guys have to try and solve it. Try solving it for the limiting reagent, how much is present, and give the answer. Alright. So you have to convert into moles. Both are given in grams. Convert into moles. Find out what is the limiting reactant. Then use it to find out how much water will be formed. So the reaction is hydrogen plus oxygen will give rise to water. So this question here has to be solved by you, and you have to give me the answer. The answer I will give you in next bridge course session. So what did we learn in this session? We learnt about the limiting reagent, and we found out stoichiometric analysis, how to find out the number of reactants or products, number as in we found out how to find the mass as well as moles. So how do we do that? We find out what is the mole of given substance. We use convert to mole ratio using balanced chemical equation. Am I right? And then we convert it into moles of desired substance. So this is how we find out, and then we can compare it to mass or products, and then we found out about limiting reagent. So for limiting reagent, we found both the moles similar, and whichever is less, which is completely consumed, will function as limiting reagent, and we find out the product by using the limiting reagent. The other one is called as excess. The other one is called as excess. So what are the limitations here? So we can't comment on the rate or speed of the reaction. We can't comment on the role of catalyst. If catalyst is being used, how exactly is the role using stoichiometric analysis. And also there are some reactions which are reversible reaction. We can't comment on what is the equilibrium, how the equilibrium will change. We cannot comment on how the equilibrium will change. So these are the things which are limitations when we use a stoichiometric analysis. So in this you have learned about what is the limiting reagent, what is reactant to moles ratio, how to find out reactants and products. So I'll be seeing you guys in the next bridge session. Thank you for listening.